Hey, BroMob, July 31st is the big day. Key to the Title goes live. You don't have to wait, though. Head over to keytothetitle.com now and enter to be notified so that when we launch, you don't miss a second. Tiered rankings, projections, insider's edge, sleepers, busts, and so much more. Keytothetitle.com. Go check it out right now.
Yo, welcome into the show, BroMob. We're your hosts, Chad and Brian. Today is Monday, July 29th, and as always, we've got a great show lined up for you. I mean, just too much to talk about. Training camp is just ridiculous. We got news there. We got all the standouts. We got all the important stuff. We got all the not so important stuff. And we got Brian. We got our My Guys. We got some news on some holdouts and a whole lot more, actually. So, Brian, can you tell me about the shirt you're wearing right now?
It does say I got totally naked in New Glarus, Wisconsin. So it's my favorite beer. First of all, I love beer and I love
Beer is good.
But I love me some Totally Naked in lots of ways. So we're going to keep it PG here, but this beer is phenomenal, and that's what I'm wearing. I don't know where I got this shirt. My
Totally
wife bought
Naked.
me this shirt. Yeah.
Looking good. The shirt's looking good.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Shout out to the Wisconsin people. Loving our New Glarus beers. We got Spotted Cow. If you guys don't know about it, you got to travel and get some of this beer in you because it's good.
Only sold in Wisconsin.
Only sold, yes. All the New Glarus stuff, so it's a pretty big deal. Aside from that shirt looking nice, I see right behind you there a nice looking DeAndre Hopkins jersey. And BroMob, this is the last week that you can actually enter to win it. So if you haven't already, get out there and do it. Yep. Brian's going to give it away. He's mean.
I'm going to take it.
He's been talking to me about it for the past couple weeks. He was very close to taking that James Conner one we gave away. I had to stop him from it, so get out there. We beg you. Go to our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, enter to win, go leave a review on iTunes to get another entry. And you know what? If you're feeling pretty gracious and you're feeling a little, you want some more entries into this, go to jointhebromob.com and become an official BroMobster.
Yep, so many ways to get into the drawing. I'm really surprised at how we don't have a million entries because this jersey is hot. I mean, I'm sweating right now. That's how hot it is. It might have something to do with it being 118 degrees out right now, probably in Arizona. But I'm going to tell you right now, this jersey's smoking. Well, what we have in Arizona, Chad, is what I like to call the surface of the sun. And you can't even go outside without wanting to punch yourself in the eye. So it's hot, and then it's monsoon season. Which, if you don't know what that means, look it up. It basically means it storms like crazy sporadically throughout the entire state, and then we have dust storms. And so
you were just going to say, if you don't know what that is, look it up, and then you were going to move on to the next thing.
Look it up.
I don't want to explain it to you.
That's right. Send me a message because I need to know. But it's freaking hot, man. It's humid for Arizona. It's like 40% humidity right now. It's muggy, and it's like 100 and it's easily 110 right now. So just putting that out there. But I think 5 degrees of that is the Hopkins jersey. That's how hot this jersey is. So,
well, speaking of hot, Brian, the NFL is just a cavalcade of hot news right now. And I just found a reason to use the word cavalcade. Yes.
Please? No.
Look it up.
Nope.
Moving on.
No. I'm looking at your notes. I'm reading your notes. I don't see cattle corn in there at all. Cattle corn. What word did you just use, sir?
Cavalcade.
Define cavalcade.
I'm not a dictionary.
It's an arcade of cows. Cattlecade.
I'm not saying
That's
cavalcade.
where the cows go to
Cavill.
play arcade games. Cattlecade.
Like Superman, Henry Cavill, Cade.
Oh, what happened?
We digress.
I have a headache.
But there is just so much news, so many injuries happening right now. I almost injured myself going to turn the TV on to watch the news because I stubbed my toe on the table. I almost had to call you to get a news update out there that Chad Davidson has a broken toe because it was painful. I thought for sure it was broken.
We would have lost followers if I would have reported on that.
I think we would have gathered some followers.
So there's a reason.
People want to know. But no, I mean, there's just so much. Let's try to move into the show. But first, I do want to bring up Key to the Title because BroMob, we got huge news. Brian and I have been working on it forever, and it's finally here. It's going to be out this week, August 31st. And Brian, I'm just going to say right now, the thing that I like about it the most is our Insider's Edge. I mean, we're talking about everything. We got sleepers, busts, breakouts, injury updates, anything you can possibly think of that's on the inside, who we're in contact with to get this information. You've got it too. It's my favorite part of it. What do you got, Brian?
Well, so I like the analytics area. So we have an area with red zone target data. I personally really like the ease of schedule data. It's just so nice to be able to go in and see what the first 4 weeks look like, and then the whole season as far as the easiest schedules by position, and then you can sort it. So it's so user friendly. I love that area. It's so helpful. And then my favorite thing, Chad, above all else, is this last little bit. And I know it's your favorite thing too. We both see eye to eye on this. BroMob, we are giving away Key to the Title. We're giving it away for free this year. It is, Chad and I have put a tireless amount of energy and time into Key to the Title, and our gift is to give it to you for free. There is an endless amount of data and information to help you win your hashtag BroMob title. So we want to see you win titles, and we are going to do it for free. So visit keytothetitle.com right now. Fill out the entry form at the bottom so that you can get notified when Key to the Title goes live this Wednesday.
Will you, Agent Brian, be in everybody's ear every step of the way?
Every step of the way.
We're going to be in your guys' ear, in your eye canals, everywhere you can think of, showing you everything that you need to know to win that title. So check it out.
Yep.
Let's move on. Don't forget to follow along after the show by following us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Bros Podcasts. And don't forget to search hashtag BroMob for all of our past news, updates, shenanigans, all the fun stuff. We got it all there. Let's start the show.
Here's the news.
So the biggest bit of information that came out this week, and actually just the last couple of days here, Cincinnati Bengals star wide receiver AJ Green has gone down during camp with a originally suspected to be a low ankle sprain, but after MRIs were conducted, it was confirmed that it was in fact a torn ligament in his left ankle, and he's actually expected to miss at a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks going forward. And actually, Brian, what I'm hearing is that if this is if AJ Green doesn't opt to have surgery on the ankle, of which we know he has got some past experience with foot injuries, ankle injuries, and so on and so forth, he might just go ahead and call it, let's go get surgery now, get it fixed so I can continue on with my career and not have to deal with more injuries, of which that would stretch it out to about a 12-week absence. So not good news coming out of camp these first couple days for the star wide receiver.
No, not at all. So I have AJ Green in our Dynasty League, and I drafted him this year as just really, So the good news is he's not my wide receiver 1. He's like my wide receiver 7. That means I'm deep. So it really doesn't concern me as far as my team, but I was hoping to really have him. I really had my heart set on him having such a good year and kind of coming out and rejuvenating the last part of his career. But my fear is that maybe this is the beginning of the end for him. Look, he's got a history of a lot of leg injuries, and I'm worried about this ankle injury affecting his entire season. If you think about it, he won't be able to do any cardio. I'm worried about this really affecting his stamina, having adverse effects with hamstring pulls and strains throughout the season. So I don't know about you, Chad. I know we just did our rankings. I think you and I both kind of agreed that we have to move him down the list a bit. So we did some updates to our rankings this morning, and those will be going up on Key to the Title on Wednesday.
Yeah, there were some significant changes. He dropped, and coincidentally, Tyler Boyd has gone up, and I've brought him up pretty high, and so have you. A lot of opportunity here. A lot of people are looking at the splits that Tyler Boyd had last season with AJ Green and without AJ Green, and showing that there was a vast difference between the two. He was a lot more productive with AJ Green on the field. However, those splits don't take into account that he was also without Andy Dalton during those other splits. And he was catching passes from a guy named Jeff Driscoll. So, I mean, Tyler Boyd, look, he's been rising every year of his career. Some of these wide receivers are just late bloomers. And Tyler Boyd is showing a lot of promise. So, as the unquestioned wide receiver one there with AJ Green gone, there's a lot of opportunity here for the guy.
Well, and look, AJ Green is only gone for a week or two to start the season. It seems like best case scenario. So, AJ Green returns. I think he is the wide receiver one on the team, but I wouldn't be surprised if, again, this affects him throughout the season. He misses more games, and Tyler Boyd becomes a sneaky pick for people in the draft this year. So I would mark him on your list. I think he's somebody that definitely has some potential to surprise. Yeah.
The New York Giants, man, karma has bitten, and Dave Gettleman is sweating. So the New York Giants virtually will be without a wide receiving core, what it looks like for the entire 2019 season. So Golden Tate, wide receiver, was handed a 4-game suspension for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substance policy. It said that he's going to be appealing it, but there's no guarantee that anything's going to happen. So at a minimum, he's getting a 4-game suspension. So without him, there goes one of Eli's trusted targets, quote unquote, that's going to be there. During the same kind of time frame, Sterling Shepard, another wide receiver who was looking to get a whole big target share on the offense, left practice with a broken thumb. There is some optimism that he would come back by the start of the season, but with a broken thumb, this kind of injury, you're catching balls constantly. There's some worry there that he could have some drop issues, and he could just re-injure it again because there's going to be a lot of contact on that hand. And then finally, third-string wide receiver Corey Coleman goes down with a torn ACL during camp and will miss the entire season. I mean, this team is just, in the last 5 days, has gone through hell and back. It's just terrible.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think Sterling Shepard will be fine. He'll be there week one, I believe. And so, but I'm looking at square in the face right now, Evan Ingram.
Oh yeah.
I think this is a huge upgrade. I mean, if you're looking for a potential guy that could have, Evan Ingram is going to probably have well over 100 targets this year. And so I just think huge upgrade for him. Same thing for Saquon Barkley. If you thought Saquon was going to have a good year already, talk about the perfect scenario. I worry, we worry about stacking the box, but he showed he can run against 8-man fronts. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley looking pretty good. I would be scared to death if I were Eli Manning right now.
Yeah, I would be too. A little bit more on Barkley. I had him projected at like 280 or so carries for this coming season. With these injuries and these suspensions, it's not out of the realm that he'll have over 300 carries.
Yeah. You know what season. I don't understand? I don't understand why Eli Manning's still playing. I just, they're not going to win a championship, clearly.
Because
they're not going to win a championship. It's not like he needs the money. So what is the point? If you have zero chance of winning a championship, which is virtually what the Giants have, what's the point?
Because Dave Gettleman believes in him.
Yeah, my name's Dave Gettleman.
I'm
Gettle. You, Eli.
Man.
We got 2 Eli's now. Got 2 in there.
Terrible Dave Gettleman.
2 Eli's are better than 1.
We're gonna go ahead and move on from these 1 or 2 lives that you're talking. I'm very confused, so I'm moving on. Lions longtime running back Theo Riddick has been released by the team. There was a lot of speculation throughout camp that this was going to happen. The team was looking to use more of a Kerryon Johnson, CJ Anderson mold team anyway. Kerryon getting used in both the passing game and the rushing game. And CJ Anderson coming in to kind of spell and give Kerryon some rest reps here and there. So Theo Riddick's gone, and he's instantly getting some interest from other teams. The Saints being one of them, which is actually kind of interesting. They have Alvin Kamara already, who's just in every type of situation back. Latavius Murray's there. I think if anything, this is going to hurt Latavius Murray's value if they do bring in Theo Riddick. Not because Latavius Murray was slotted for any kind of receiving game duties, but they're going to take him off the field if Theo Riddick gets out there. So less opportunities on the field for Latavius Murray means less opportunity for fantasy points. So again, this is just all speculation. He hasn't been signed, but it's the type of things that you should be looking at whenever Theo Riddick's looking at teams.
Where is the worst place you think he could go? I hate him in New Orleans, by the way. Just want to put that out there.
The two worst places he could go, San Francisco and Buffalo.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. The most crowded backfields ever. Just make it more confusing.
Philadelphia, if he goes there.
New England.
New England. There's a lot of teams. I'll say one thing, though. I wouldn't mind him on Tampa Bay.
Yeah, get out of here with that. I don't want to hear that noise.
All right, I'll get out of here on that. I'll move forward. Our final bit of news here. Big names holding out. We already knew about it. They talked about it. It's officially happening. We got Zeke Elliott, who didn't show up to camp. Melvin Gordon not showing up to camp. And then finally, big Michael Thomas not showing up to camp as well. These are some big names. Everybody's drafting these guys usually in the first round. Melvin Gordon's, I think, kind of slipping towards the end of the first, but still in there. But these guys are some big names that people are relying on heavily that aren't showing up to camp.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked about Zeke last week, Chad. I tell you, I think Dallas is in a weird position here. I have heard that they offered him a contract, an extended contract, and he has not responded, which usually means the answer is no. And he has not rebutted
back with a rebuttal.
Yeah, he hasn't rebutted it. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's not very team friendly to do what he's doing right now, obviously ahead of guys like Dak and stuff like that, who I think deserve to be paid probably more than he does. But I don't know. Maybe Dallas does sign him. I know you and I have a bet on that.
I'm hoping. I'm over here just rubbing my hands together.
I think Dallas has a price as far as what they're willing to pay, and if that's not the case, then Zeke doesn't show, and he probably shows up for week 1 to play. But I mean, he's going to lose a lot of money if he doesn't play.
Yeah, out of these 3 players, I think the one that comes back the quickest is Michael Thomas. There's some things kind of in play there that are against his advantage, and he doesn't have the leverage in the situation quite like Zeke and Melvin Gordon do. But Michael Thomas, I see kind of coming back within the next day, next week type of thing. Whereas, I don't know, Zeke and Melvin Gordon is a different story. I think Melvin Gordon, is planting his roots in the ground, and he's standing still. Whereas Zeke, he loves the sport. I think he'll come back at some point in time and kind of squash the whole thing. But right now it's just hurting teammates, and it's bringing too much press to the team. And you can actually kind of see visual frustrations from everybody. Defensive players, from Stephen Jones and everybody like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Stephen Jones, the rumor is he's not very thrilled with this right now. And also Jalen Smith was being interviewed, and you could see visual frustration, and his response was very blunt and pretty much, I'm here. And that's really all he had to say about it. So yeah, I think the team really would rather him be there and deal with his contract negotiations outside of training camp, but that's not the route Zeke's decided to go. And obviously his representation is advising him to do this. And so it's unfortunate. I don't know. I mean, if you were the GM, Chad, what would you do?
I mean, I would sign one of the top 3 running backs in the league
yeah,
to the money he's looking for.
Yeah, I would not.
The team is dramatically different with and without.
I would trade him. I'd trade him for a boatload of picks. You're going to get a first, probably 2. And so you're going to get a boatload of picks for him. And I think you trade him and go talk to go grab Duke Johnson. Or go grab, hey, you've got Theo Riddick on the market. Sign these guys.
I don't see a team trading a lot of draft picks for the guy, mainly due to the fact that he's looking to get paid on top of this. And if the big storyline that we're pulling from free agency right now, or not free agency, from the offseason right now, is teams aren't valuing running backs as much as they have in the past, then I don't see a team giving multiple picks for a guy who wants to get turned around and paid a boatload of money right when they bring him in.
I just, I just see the NFL is changing the way it handles running backs. So I just don't think teams are going to be willing to pay, like you said.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the news this week. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter to get your up-to-date updates around the NFL today, the whole happenings that are going on with training camp and this crazy insaneness. Speaking of training camp, Brian, let's get into today's segment.
I'm ready to go in, Coach. Just give me a chance. I know there's a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological.
Man, Ace Ventura is just the best. It's the best.
So easy to use. So easy to use.
Really
By
is.
the way, we didn't even talk about this. This is the last Sunday that we will have without football. This is the very last Sunday. Like next week we have football. We'll have football going on while we're recording.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a TV in here, giant recliner, beer fridge, massage therapist.
What? Therapist?
Well, I need to have my shoulders rubbed while I'm stressing about what's going on.
Oh, a massage therapist. All I heard was therapist.
Oh, not a mental therapist. No.
I'm like,
well, I might need one of those too.
You
So,
need
I keep
someone
seeing
to
my
come
guys
in.
get injured.
They're like, Brian, how are you doing? How was your week? And you're like, Doc.
Sound like Ace Ventura.
Listen here, Doc.
Coach.
My players keep getting injured. I don't know what to do. I don't know why I did it like that. Anyway, into our segment. Let's start it off with just the fact that training camp has been crazy. Outside of the injuries, there's been a lot of these rookies kind of stepping up, showing some worth. A lot of players looking like they're trying to take over starting jobs, or at least taking some of that first team reps away from players that we had originally thought, and just some other craziness. So I'm going to start it off with some of the other injuries that are raising our eyebrows that weren't necessarily quite as big as AJ Green's, where people are definitely missing large amounts of time. But I'm going to start it off with the very first one here, Damian Williams.
Hey, Damian! We got our war faces on! Ah! Ah!
Forgot how long we had that. But
Yeah.
Damian Williams did not have his war face on this first week of training camp. And right away, people were thinking, okay, he's never had this large load as a running back. Can he handle the workload? What we saw in this first week of training camp is that he may not be able to handle the workload. Andy Reid kind of historically has these really tough training camps and he puts people through the ringer. So that kind of brings injuries about with it anyway. But Damian Williams getting this hamstring issue, soft tissue injuries tend to linger. It's something to kind of keep your eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the thing with Damian Williams, we just moved him up in my rankings last week, and then this happens.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be clear to go for week one. I usually, depending on how bad the hamstring injury is, it can, usually heal within a couple weeks, and you'd be good to go. My worry is that, hey, this is a guy that's, he was given the job, but it could be easily taken away.
Yes.
You've got another guy there breathing down your back, and this is the perfect window of opportunity. Damian Williams is a guy trying to prove himself that he can carry the full workload. He's never been a full-time starter on any squad he's been a part of for 5 years. Mm-hmm. So here we are, the first time he's given a full workload, injury. And so I'm worried about it. I think it does concern me. I'm not going to change him in my rankings, but I'm probably reluctantly staying clear of him. I think there are some options around him where he's going that I would rather go with, that I feel like are starters and have proven to be starters.
I think out of the top 20 running backs that we have ranked, Damian Williams is the only one that I have that suspicion or that kind of, I guess that gut rot feeling behind me that says, you know what, he is kind of playing for his role on the team, whereas these other players, they already have it solidified. Damian Williams, if he has a couple bad weeks or if he has a flare-up in a hamstring injury, he could easily lose that role to Carlos Hyde and somebody like that could produce better. So Damian Williams still has that high risk but high upside because that offense is ridiculous. So moving on, because we don't have all day to talk about Damian Williams, but Derrick Henry was another big name. No, we don't. So Derrick Henry was another one of these big name players that got injured. A lot of kind of like, what would you call it, Brian? Like just they're kind of hiding this, kind of being quiet about it. sneaky about it, but Derrick Henry went down, was put into a walking boot. They're saying that it's not anything serious, but I mean, I stubbed my toe on the table the other day that I thought was pretty serious, but I didn't go into a walking boot. So
yeah, but Derrick Henry eats people like you for dinner, so I mean,
true.
it's different. Like if Derrick Henry stubbed his toe on the table would be the one that was out. So
Clever.
So here is the deal. He has been spotted in a walking boot. I was in a walking boot not too long ago for a broken toe, and I could tell you, A, it's not fun. B, it takes something pretty serious to be in a walking boot for, or you're trying to really protect something to let it heal. And C, it affects everything else that you do. Like, so you're walking on this boot and all of a sudden your hip bothers you, your back bothers you, your right arm bothers you for some reason. Like those things literally happen to me. So I don't know. I mean, I worry about Derrick Henry, but I think he'll be fine. There's nothing has come out. The team's been very secretive about it, which tells me they're really trying. Maybe it is serious. I don't know. But for now, it's something I'm keeping a close eye on this. Not a lot of people are drafting yet. It's the typical time frame to be drafting your team is preseason week 2 or 3, and sometimes 4. 2 is early, 3 is common. Week 4 is usually late or common. So there are some teams that draft their team. There are some leagues that draft their teams the day before the season starts. So, you want to monitor this. If you're planning on picking Derrick Henry, or he's somebody that's through your mock drafts continually falls to you at a certain spot and you like to take him, you're going to want to keep a close eye on this, I think.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you want to take away from this BroMob is that Brian and I will 1,000% compare our own personal injuries to any injury that happens to an NFL pro athlete.
That's correct.
And ours will always be 1,000 times worse than what they had. So
that's
just
also
so you
correct.
know, we have a lot more pain threshold, or less pain threshold, I will say, than Derrick Henry and folks. So Brian said that he started getting shoulder pains by having a walking boot. So just so you know, that's what you're dealing with us. So moving on to the next big injury that we want to talk about here, Julian Edelman. So like Sterling Shepard, Edelman broke a thumb. And actually there's a lot of people out there saying that he won't even be ready for week 1. So this is kind of big news for a guy that was slotted to have a lot of target share on the Patriots offense. It's 1 week, but for that first week, if you're drafting Julian Edelman in the rounds that he's kind of going in the 3rd and the 4th, you're going to be without him in that first week. So what's your insurance policy, who you putting in his place, and everything like that. So
yep, just make sure you're prepared. That's all.
All right, Brian, let's move on to our rookie standouts, because there's been a good handful of them. And the first one I really want to point out here, and actually I know you're hot to trot to talk on him too, because he's right there in your home city. Kyler Murray, man, he is zinging the ball. He's running all over the place. He's looking efficient. He's turning heads of not just coaches, but other teams are starting to talk about him, other players and stuff. He's looking real good.
Yeah. So the buzz here in Arizona, we're flooded with video of him, in practice, and he's putting in a lot of time after hours. So he's in late, he's in early. They're doing one-on-one drills with him, where he's moving around. They've got big pads up as dummy players. He's running around them, throwing the ball through nets, and so he's practicing scrambling the pocket. Clearly, I think they're getting him. They want to make sure he's comfortable with being able to scramble, but I think too they're getting him ready for what's to come, which is that offensive line is not the best in the league, and so I think the team realizes, hey, look, we're going to have some issues, and we need to be prepared for when Kyler needs to scramble and get creative. So let's grill him around that. So there's also been a couple of spots or videos rather where the team's running through some drills. I saw a really nice play where he scrambled around, made a really nice back foot throw, or off the back foot down the center to looked like a tight end. And so it was really hard to see, but beautiful, right over a defender. It was a perfect throw, had a lot of zip on it. So, I mean, he's showing a lot of arm strength and a lot of intuition to get out of the pocket. There was another video where he scrambled, and it just felt really natural. It was like the play broke down, get out of there, and he went. So he's got a lot of natural instinct for those things, and I think the Cardinals have possibly hit gold. I think he's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of like I won't say a resurrection because the guy's always been great, but I'm seeing a lot of connection between him and Larry Fitzgerald so far in camp, and it's very telling because, I mean, he knows who his best receiver is. So,
well, look, if you're a rookie quarterback on a team and you've got one of the best hands ever to play the game at wide receiver, he might not be the best wide receiver in the league anymore, but he's still one of the most respected. And so if you're in a situation, you're like, I need to get it to somebody, I just want to get it close to him, maybe he'll come down with it. Why not throw it to Fitz?
I mean, somebody might want to talk to Rosen about that same scenario, but
yeah, no kidding.
I digress. Speaking of QBs that are doing very well, rookie QBs that is, Dwayne Haskins is showing some really good zip and connection with some players as well. He's actually showing a lot of connection with his former teammate there from Ohio State, Terry McLaurin. And I'll tell you right now, Terry, he's got some route running expertise on him because I've seen him juking and jiving his way and making people miss, making people's ankles break. He's looking pretty impressive, and the coaches, the players, everybody's recognizing.
Yeah, I really liked. I saw some footage today actually of him catching a long ball, and it was just perfect. His route run was perfect. The throw was perfect. So it could be something to look forward to in the coming years.
Yeah. Speaking of looking forward to, though, David Montgomery, man, Matt Nagy, can't talk enough about him.
Yeah, Nagy is glowing. So. Some of the commentary today was Matt Nagy saying that David Montgomery has some of the best vision that he's seen in a long time from a running back. And that says a lot, especially for a rookie. And, if you watch some of the video footage, his running style is very smooth. It's very fluid. It looks very natural. He has been turning quite a bit of heads with some of the burst and speed he has. And I've heard rumbles of, hey, he could possibly be a rookie of the year candidate. I don't know. What do you think, Chad? I think he could do it.
Some rumble in the jungle there.
Yeah, he's on a team to do it.
I do like him. I like him a lot. I think he needs to have he needs to be given the volume to do that, but I think he's in an opportunity to do that.
Yep.
I'm going to end the segment by talking about, because we don't have all day, Brian, okay? We can't just talk about whatever you want to talk about all the time. So I'm going to finish the segment up by talking about one player and one player alone, and that's Odell Beckham Jr. He has not lost a step at all, and he looks like he is just rejuvenated and ready to dominate. Everything I'm seeing, I saw a one-handed catch by him just yesterday, actually, that was as nasty as what I've seen him do against Dallas from week to week whenever he plays them. So Odell Beckham Jr. has stepped into a really nice position. Could easily be a top 5. He could easily end up as the best wide receiver in the league from what I'm watching.
I mean, you don't have to convince me. I think he's going to have a crazy year. I think he's going to have a really good year. As long as he can stay healthy, that's always been his concern, right?
Yeah.
That's the risk you take drafting OBJ is the injury risk. But best quarterback he's had in his career, best offense he's been a part of in his career. He is excited, wants to move on from New York. I think there's a chip on his shoulder because in some interviews I've read about, he is. They weren't recent; they just got published recently. But when he first left, I mean, he did feel a little insulted by the trade from New York. He felt like he put New York on the map every year, and that he was a big reason why they were still relevant on primetime games and things like that. And to be traded, it was kind of a slap in his face, is kind of how OBJ felt. So I think there's a chip on his shoulder, and I think that's going to show in his production this year. So I would try to get OBJ whenever you can, if he's there, for sure.
Yeah, our rankings aside, if you're looking at OBJ or Julio, Brian, which one do you rather want on your team?
I take OBJ.
Just for the upside.
Yeah, for the upside, and the situation, I think he's just in a really good situation. Now, I think he has a killer year this year. If they go 9-7 and miss the playoffs, I think that stains him a bit next year. I think he's still OBJ next year, but he may become more and more of a cancer to the team. And he's not getting any younger.
Yeah, I agree. OBJ is just one huge talented receiver, and he's just got all the upside in the world. So don't be shy about drafting him this season. Take that chance on him because he's going to do wonders for you. Brian, let's move on.
Nothing you can take can tear me away from my guy.
Our guys.
Love me some My Guys.
I like that drop. Makes me a little happy.
Yeah, I kind of want to download that song on iTunes.
Makes me very happy because now
I don't want to.
We get to talk about our guys. And BroMob, you get to listen. But first, let me explain what a My Guy is, BroMob. So My Guys are the guys that we're looking, Brian and I, to draft in almost every draft we're in. We love these guys. We love their opportunity. We might love their floor. We might like their ceiling potential. Whatever it may be, there's some reason that myself or Brian love these players. And we're looking to just bring them into every team, or every bit of shares that we can out of them. So, Brian, I'm going to hand it off to you first, just to get the whatever bad takes we possibly can out of the way, just to get to the good takes for everybody to kind of end the show with.
I got you. All right, that's fine. Jeez. So I'll start with, you hurt my feels. My first guy, God, I love this dude. I love him. Been drafting him everywhere. And so my first guy is Aaron Jones, running back for the Green Bay Packers. And let me just break it down. This is what I love about Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones's career yards per carry average. Chad, what would you say his career yards per carry average is? Well, before you say anything, why don't you just let me tell you, okay?
All right.
His career yards per carry is, you're welcome, is 5.5 yards per carry, okay? That is an incredible yards per carry average. Over 200 total carries in his career in 2 seasons. He had over 100 last year. So, and still averaged 5.5 consistently. So this isn't just a 1-year spike and then it averaged out. He's been consistent. And this is what I love about him. I also love the situation he's in. The team is creating a more dynamic offense that should make him a little bit more explosive. Aaron Rodgers, the guy that turns around and hands him the ball from time to time. That guy also,
he's kind of good.
Yeah, he's kind of good. He also has a mustache sometimes, kind of like what you have right now, but his is way better.
Looking pretty nice. Yeah, he has a good one.
Yeah,
I give it
to
him.
Hefty porn. It's a hefty porn stash for sure.
I drink beer better.
Yeah, I would say most Americans do. So, but Aaron Rodgers loves him as well, and also he believes that he should be heavily involved in the offense because he thinks he's a dynamic player. There's also the little asterisk that Jamal Williams, the other running back that's in that backfield, yeah, that guy's injured right now. He's got a hamstring injury at the moment. Now, I'm sure he'll be back before week 1 and he'll be involved in the offense. But let me just break down why I think Aaron Jones should be more involved. Jamal Williams, in his time in Green Bay, has averaged 3.7 yards per carry, and he's had, over the last 2 seasons, 150 yards less than Aaron Jones has. So Aaron Jones is by far the more efficient back to have in that backfield. You add that to the beefed up O-line that they just created, and I think you've got a recipe for magic. The 5.5 could be his floor, Chad. It could be the floor. So I'm looking for big things from Aaron Jones this year. I think there's big potential, and it helps having Aaron Rodgers turning around handing you the ball.
Are you not worried about a possible committee situation, though? I mean, Matt LaFleur comes out, instantly says his offense likes to run off of a committee situation for the running backs. We saw it last year in Tennessee, but something looming.
Yeah, so, I mean, there are plenty of teams with committees where multiple backs do well. Mm-hmm. Look at Chicago. Chicago's a perfect example. You've had a committee situation there. Same thing with Atlanta. You had Coleman and Freeman. So, no, I'm not worried at all. I think Aaron Jones' yards per carry and his when he's on the field, the eye test, when you see him, I think that is going to do enough to keep him on the field for long drives. And so, yeah, Jamal Williams is going to be involved, but I think Aaron Jones is going to be so effective that he just kind of takes over the role through the season.
Do you like him at his ADP right now as well? He's about
Good question, Chad.
Aaron Jones is going either at the beginning or towards the middle of the 3rd round currently in redrafts. half point PPR. So I really like him there. Would you jump on him if you really like the guy? Would you jump on him? Let's say you're at the back half of the second round and you don't think you're going to get him at the turn. Would you take a chance on him in a second?
I mean, if you think that he's going to be the guy that gets into the top 10 running backs, which he has the potential to do, I don't know if I'd take him that early. I think the earliest I would take him would be the right around the second, third round turn, right in that spot. So here's a great example. Like let's say you have your top 4 pick, which, oh, hey, by the way, I am this year in our league of record. So
luckiest horseshoe every year.
So, I mean, look, if Aaron Jones could slide around the third to me, or, maybe I feel lucky, I'm going to take him in the second. I really think Aaron Jones has the potential to be last year's Christian McCaffrey if he can secure the majority role and Jamal Williams becomes a non-factor.
Who else you got, Brian?
So my other guy is he's a big dude. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chad. He's a big dude. I love this guy. I've been honking his horn. That sounds weird.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm gonna roll with it, Chad. I've been honking that horn. I call it the Hunter Henry horn, Triple H. Okay, I've been honking this Triple H horn for the entire preseason. This went really, really weird.
Henry horn, Triple H.
Triple H. Hunter Henry, tight end of the Los Angeles Chargers.
We need to get Triple H's It's All About the Game drop for Hunter Henry going forward.
Next week, we'll do it. So here's the deal. Hunter Henry, I think, has the potential to be easily a top 5 tight end this year. As a matter of fact, I believe I have him at 5. So here's what I see in Hunter Henry. Let me just break this down for you. So he didn't play last year, obviously. Injured, missed the whole season. 2016 and 17 were his first 2 years. So 2017, Hunter Henry had 62 targets, 45 catches for 579 yards. He averaged 12.9 yards per catch. He had 4 touchdowns on the season. That's with Antonio Gates on the team. He was the leading receiver in tight ends. Gates was behind him, far less efficient. He had 52 targets for 30 catches and 300 yards, averaged like 11 yards a catch. And so it was way less efficient, only 3 touchdowns. So then you look at 2018's stats for tight ends on the LA Chargers. Obviously, Hunter Henry wasn't there. So here's what you have. So you had a combination of Antonio Gates, who is, by the way, was 38 years old. Yep. Super old for a tight end.
52.
You had 30-year-old Virgil Green, who's not that young either. So you had 2 guys over the age of 30. They combined for 72 targets, 47 catches for 543 yards. They only averaged 11.6 yards per reception. Here's the deal. Henry is 24 years old, and he is dynamically talented. He has averaged a career 13 yards per catch. He has 12 touchdowns over 2 seasons. And I just think he is going to take what happened last year. I think the reason the tight end position was so low as far as the production level on the Chargers is because it's Gates and Virgil Green, for God's sakes. Gates is running down the field with a wheelchair. I mean, so I just really think Henry is going to be that guy that he's just so quick, dynamic. He's a big body. And by the way, that 13 yards per catch, oh yeah, that's better than both Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz's career yards per catch. So
can we talk about the fact that you said he's running down the field
with Gates in a wheelchair?
With the wheelchair. He's not riding the wheelchair. He's running down the field, pushing a wheelchair down the field.
You know what I'm at, man, okay?
He's trying to pick up Virgil because that might be the oldest name in the league.
I'm surprised Virgil's not 80. So first of all, he might be. Maybe that's a typo. Virgil's got Gates in the wheelchair and he's pushing him down the field to catch the ball.
There it is.
That's what happened.
That makes sense.
So look, I'm super high on Hunter Henry. I'm trying to acquire him in every league I can this year. I think you can get him much deeper than guys like Kelce, Kittle, Ertz, those guys are all going in the first 6 rounds easily. You can get Hunter Henry much deeper than that. So, he's a guy. Every year, my goal is to try to draft a tight end deeper in the draft that could break out to be that top tight end type caliber guy. And I think Hunter Henry can be that guy this year.
Yeah, I agree. I see a lot of potential for Hunter Henry too. I actually had him at 5 as well until this whole New York Giants fiasco happened, of which I was forced. Brian, you're still not on it. You still love Hunter Henry, but I was forced to put Evan Ingram above it. I love the guy. I think he's going to be incredible. But Hunter Henry also going to be a pretty good guy for you this coming season. Now let me get...
Triple H is his name. Please use it correctly. It's not Hunter Henry. It is Triple H.
I'm so sorry. Now let me get into the better version of my guys. Let me talk about my Chad Davidson, my guys. Brian, I'm going to start it off with a guy I've kind of talked about a whole boatload this offseason. And actually one of our earlier episodes, I brought him in right away. Mark Ingram. So I've conservatively statted him out. I think easily the guy's going to have about 225 carries. I think more, but let's say he gets 225 carries. I've statted him out, and it's looking like he's going to get just a tad over 1,000 yards, around 8 touchdowns, probably around 35 receptions, because people forget the guy gets used in the passing game. And Lamar Jackson doesn't really have a good throwing arm on him, but anybody can dump it off to a running back. So Mark Ingram is going to get used heavily. Because of this, I think he's one of the safest bets that you can take in the 4th round right now. Like guys like Kerryon Johnson and everybody else, you have risk behind them, right? They have injury risk and everything like this. Mark Ingram, there's nobody else that's going to be really contesting him for carries in this team, other than Lamar Jackson, of course, but he's got the full workload locked down. Because of this, after I've statted him out, he could easily not just be a top 10 running back, Brian, but if he exceeds that, and let's say he gets 60 more carries than the 225 and he's up at like more 285, Brian, he stats out as a top 5 running back that you're possibly getting in the 4th round. People are down on the Ravens right now. They're down about the receivers. It's like they've completely forgotten about the fact that Mark Ingram is going to be the bell cow there on a team that's going to want to run the ball, possibly at a historical record of carries for a team. This is one of the safest bets I will take in the 4th round any day.
So you're not worried about Justice Hill coming in and kind of taking some of the carries away, especially as the season carries on. That doesn't concern you at all. He's not somebody that bothers you.
He doesn't bother me. He'll come in. Don't get me wrong. Justice Hill will come in, get some receiving work, probably some carries, of course, as well. But I don't see him taking any significant share away from Mark Ingram at all. People forget Mark Ingram has averaged 4.5 yards per carry in his career. Of course, this is on a dynamic offense with Drew Brees, but at the same time, he's never been really given the true bell cow effect on any team, of which he's going to be getting here in Baltimore. This is going to be a defensive, smash-mouth team, and this is perfect for his type of style. He's this little bowling ball package of a guy that runs in and just runs people over, and he gets better with volume. Feed him. I'll take him in the 4th round. If nobody wants him, I'll win with him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Mark Ingram a lot too.
Be.
In our underground league, we took him, and so that's definitely somebody that I've got on my radar as well. So I like it. Who else do you have?
Yeah, it's funny that you bring in the underground league, because this next guy that I have, I also lobbied to draft him as well. Will Fuller. And people might be thinking, but Chad is coming off ACL injury. He gets injured all the time. I don't care. Let me read off some stats for you. 1, Will Fuller's a home run hitter. Last year alone, he had 11.2 yards per target, which was number 3 in the league. He also was at 2.81 yards per route that was ran, which was number 7 in the league. And then he was at 15.7 yards per reception, which was good for 14th in the league. Those stats alone put him up there as one of the best home run hitters in the league, with like guys like Deshaun Jackson and Robbie Anderson. Next, let's talk about his fantasy production, because we're on a fantasy football show. I guess I should talk about that, right? Last season alone, he averaged 12.9 fantasy football points per game. Break that out to his targets, and per target, he was averaging 2.36 points per target, which was good for number 6 in the league. If you stat it out for the games that he was playing, that was good for wide receiver number 11 in the league. For a guy that's going incredibly late in drafts, I'll take that upside any day. because he was doing the same thing 2 years ago, Brian. Whenever he plays, Deshaun Watson knows to throw it to him. That's one of his favorite targets. He throws touchdowns to him. He throws deep balls to him. He loves it. The reason why, he's number 2 in the league for quarterback rating whenever he's targeted. Deshaun Watson has a 137.5 QB rating whenever he targets Will Fuller in the passing game. It's incredible, which makes sense because through weeks 1 through 8, Will Fuller was wide receiver 20, but also he missed week 1. He was just a few points shy of players like Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Lockett, Cooper Kupp, and Brandon Cooks, guys that everybody looks at as these either A, elite talents, or B, high upside wide receiver 2s, and they're going within the first 4 to 5 rounds. Will Fuller is putting up the same amount of points whenever he's healthy. Will Fuller, I'm looking to grab in every league that I possibly can because he's going to win me a league just like Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he goes so late is obviously his injury risk is a concern. And so, you take high draft capital on somebody and they are gone for the majority of your fantasy season. It hurts. So, but the upside, I definitely get it. So, I mean, there is that upside. I think he's absolutely dynamic. When we were just talking about him a little bit before the podcast, Chad, and yeah, I think he's just as good as DeAndre Hopkins in some cases. So I think there's definitely a case where you look at this guy and you gotta take him. So I agree with you completely.
I think a big thing here, so people are worried about the ACL injury and him coming back. What's he going to be like? Coaches are already saying that the guy's unguardable, which is what he's kind of been throughout his entire career. He's been really hard to cover. But they're already saying he's unguardable. Cornerbacks on our team can't keep up. So the ACL injury, not affecting him. He's still looking good. Why not take a chance on a guy that could possibly end up being a top 12 receiver? So I love Will Fuller and I love Mark Ingram. Those are my guys. I'm looking to draft them everywhere. I know all the guys in our league of record now are going to be all over it, drafting them 1 round too early. That's okay. I'll wait on some other guys then. But I love these guys. Brian, I really liked your guys too, but mine were just way better.
That's fair. We'll see at the end of the season.
I guess we will. Well, BroMob, that's going to do it for this week's show. Be sure to tune in every Monday to stay up to date on the fantasy football world and to gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football league.
Also, be sure, BroMob, to check out keytothetitle.com to learn more about our Key to the Title system. We just announced earlier in the episode, it goes live this Wednesday, July 31st, and it is going to be completely free. So head over to keytothetitle.com. We're so close. The finish line is just around the corner.
If you aren't listening on Apple Podcasts, we're also on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever it is that you listen, we're everywhere. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FFBros Podcast, and be sure to check out our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, for all kinds of articles, rankings, player projections, and so much more. See you next week, BroMob.
Bye, everybody.